Hi guys! So today is going to be a really fun video. It's actually another collaboration. This time I'm collaborating with Ben, who is a 3D digital sculptor here on YouTube. His channel's Follygon. If you guys don't already follow him, definitely check him out. It's really cool what he does with like 3D sculpts. As a 2D artist, I just find it absolutely fascinating. But yeah, so basically we're collaborating on a character design, and Ben provided me with a prompt that I then am in this video going to be designing a character around that prompt, and then he is going to take the character that I designed and turn it into like a 3D model, which is so dang cool, and I'm so excited to see her come to life. But anyway, the prompt that I'm going to be working off of is a witty thief who always gets in trouble. So this is going to be pretty fun. I'm going to take you guys through my entire character design process and some of the things I think about as I'm coming up with a character off of such like a simple prompt. And at the end of the video, you're going to want to go check out Ben's video so you can see like the finished result of the 3D character, and I'm gonna link his channel in the description box, and I'm gonna link the video in the description box, so please make sure when you're done with this video go check him out. But without further ado, let's just get started. So the first phase for me, and I've talked about this in other videos before, but in terms of character design, the first phase for me is kind of all just happening in my head. I'm not super great at like sketching like conceptual ideas down on paper, but like I can visualize them in my head and kind of tweak them there as I'm kind of in the exploration phase and like trying out ideas and like seeing what gets me inspired. So like before I even put pencil to paper, I was just kind of mulling it over in my head and like trying to find like a spark of inspiration. And for me with this particular character, the very two elements that were the initial inspiration was the big poofy hair. I'm kind of obsessed with it right now. I'm kind of just putting it on every single character I draw, and that's okay. So that was number one. And number two was the kind of face paint that's kind of meant to look like those black masks that people wear over their eyes when they want to try to conceal their identity. Thieves wear it, superheroes wear it, Zorro wears it, like, you guys know what I mean. So like that, but not a mask, like actual either face paint or tattoo on the face. And those two things were like the initial kind of spark in my mind. And then I had to kind of design the character around those two things and make those two things work. In like the story that I crafted for her and the world that I crafted for her and sort of the rest of her design. And that's one way to go about character design, is to kind of see what inspires you and use that as a starting point for your character. I always like when I'm designing characters, you guys know I do like to keep it fairly simple, not like a super go crazy with the details kind of person. So for me, I like having one or two kind of key things about the character, like key features or key, just something that is just going to draw your eye when you first look at the character, almost like defining features, but they can be clothing elements as well. They don't need to be like facial features or hair, whatever. Like having one or two of those and have that be kind of the prominent thing about your character just really helps kind of streamline the overall sort of look and feel of the character, and you create a sense of continuity and just overall everything just kind of flows together and it all feels like it makes sense together. So you have your two features and then everything else is really just kind of supporting those things. Another thing I was thinking about with this kind of turnaround, these turnaround sketches that I'm doing here, is how this character would transition to 3D. And this is something that I have like never really thought of with my characters, because I am a on paper 2D kind of artist, but when Ben approached me for this collab, the process of thinking through like what these shapes would look like in a three-dimensional space was really interesting to work with. So for me, thinking about the shapes that made up her figure and her form was very important. So having that really kind of poofy hair and the kind of contrasting that with the very streamlined upper body and then adding in the kind of more balloon style pants creates kind of, I hope it will create kind of an interesting 3D form. So that was actually a really interesting process to think through for me. So back to kind of the actual character design and sort of my thought process as I was creating this character. I've said in previous videos about character design, and I'm going to link them up in the cards, but thinking through the character's environment and the character's personality and backstory is very, very important for actually creating a believable character. So for her, I did want to kind of think a little bit, not going too overboard, although I did kind of go overboard, about kind of the world that she might live in. So, the initial idea of the kind of poofy hair and thinking through, okay, well, how would that help her as a thief? And I came to the kind of conclusion that she would live in this world that was perpetually covered in a very dense fog. Those really deep fogs that you can only see a few feet in front of you, and it blocks out the light, so it's always very dark and gloomy and all of that. And so the hair kind of looking like a gray or whitish puff of cloud would actually help her blend in this kind of environment. As a thief, you need to be thinking in terms of utility, so you don't get caught. So every element of the character design should be kind of focused on that purpose, not getting caught. It's a very important thing to do. So yeah, and then that kind of started getting my mind going about how, what would she be stealing as a thief in this world that is covered in fog? What would she be stealing? And I came to this idea that maybe sources of light are very valuable in this world because it is very dark all the time. And like the people who are rich would have this sort of stockpile of light sources, and people who are not so wealthy would live a lot of their life in this dark gloom because they can't afford these light sources. So the idea that she would kind of steal light sources and maybe like Robin Hood style distribute them to the poor or something fun like that. I don't know. And so, light sources could be things like candles. And then I also started thinking, maybe there was a past civilization that was there before these people, and they developed these kind of never-ending light sources, some artifacts or something. And these light sources are like extremely sought after and valuable, and they're kind of discarded in the ruins of this ancient civilization or this old civilization. And maybe at like the easy to access levels, a lot of those light sources have been kind of gathered up by the rich and wealthy of the society. But if you kind of go into these dangerous ruins, you can find like light sources back there that you can take. And so maybe she like spends her time taking from the rich people, and also kind of doing these cool like excursions into ancient ruins to collect light sources and such. I got way too into this, guys, like way too into this. And then I came up with this like concept that maybe the fog itself is the fuel for these light sources. Perhaps it contains some kind of magic, and maybe there's like mages in this world who can actually pull like magical energy out of the fog by like inhaling it, and they could be called like fog breathers or something epic like that. Like I got so in like way more than I had to for this just one person like character design, but it was just a really fun kind of process to think through. So yeah, that's kind of the world element of the character and how that kind of influenced her design. All of that just going off of fog, but yeah. The next element of character, this character that I wanted to really, really focus on was function. You know, I have a lot of pet peeves with character designs and functionalities. You know, one kind of leg of character design is kind of the aesthetics, how visually pleasing it is. And, you know, in some instances, that's all that matters. You know, in some genres, in some instances, it doesn't matter if the actual design of the character would be functional. And it's really just about the visuals. But, you know, if you're trying to create a character that people can see living in a certain world and see kind of functioning in this world, you do need to keep that sort of functionality in mind. And, you know, like a few kind of pet peeves that stand out for me for like thief characters that I've seen, and like no, if you've done this with thief characters, that's cool. Like, you know, the aesthetics matter, and how you value the aesthetics is your own kind of that's your own decision, and you as an artist can make that decision. But for me, I really did want to think about function. So like things like thief designs that have really chunky boots, like chunky black boots look cool as heck, but let me tell you, if you're walking in those things, people can hear you from like a mile away. Like there is no way in heck you're being sneaky with like 2-inch platform Doc Martens. No, it's not gonna happen. So, you know, for this design, I went for something that was very streamlined, almost like a barefoot feel type shoe, so that she could still kind of jump and climb and run and everything, but her footfalls would be a lot more quiet. Another kind of issue I have with some thief designs are they have like really big gloves or like really big sleeves, like these elaborate like sleeves and stuff that like hang down and everything. And you know, for a thief, your hands are really your asset, and if you are not able to in a very streamlined way, sort of dive into someone's pocket or dive into someone's bag and come out with something without them realizing that you did it, you're not doing your job right. So for her, I used the kind of the blackout tattoo motif from her face up her arms to kind of add a little bit of darkness to that, so she could easily kind of blend in. And then also just very simple and streamlined gloves that aren't going to, you know, catch on anything as she's thieving people. Your gloves are important because you don't want to leave prints, but, you know, you don't want to catch on things either. So that was another thing I was keeping in mind. Another thing I've specifically left out of her design were something like a cloak. Again, this is just something, if you're trying to be sneaky, it can really kick you in the butt. So like if you just stole something from a dude and you're trying to run away and he doesn't realize until maybe a split second later. And if you're wearing a cloak, your cloak is still behind you within reach of that dude and he can just grab that and boom, you're caught. But if you're not wearing a cloak, that's like that split second is the difference between being able to get away or being caught. So like aesthetically, like dark cloaks with hoods pulled over your head, like it looks cool, but then you also have to think, like, unless you live in a world where cloaks are like a normal thing, and specifically cloaks with big deep hoods pulled over your eyes in an ominous way is a normal thing. Like if you are wearing a big cloak like that, you're gonna stand out and people are gonna think you look sketchy and they're going to avoid you. The thing about being like a thief in you know, fantasy or whatever, you need to blend in real life. So you need to look normal enough that you blend in, but still, you know, have function. And then the last thing that I wanted to bring into her design were some kind of bags, some way for her to store all of the things that she deals, because obviously, you know, if you're making your getaway, you need to be able to put it away quickly and use your hands to, like, I don't know, jump over a wall or climb up a tree. I don't know, whatever you do to get away as a thief. But yeah, so I thought that she should definitely have some kind of bags where she could just quickly stow the things that she took, and maybe there's like secret pockets inside those bags, so even if she does get caught, they won't be able to find what she stole, and so she'll get away with it because they don't have any evidence. So I don't know, I probably think way too into these things, but it's kind of my process when I'm going through these character designs. But anyway, wow, I have been rambling a lot. I just get so excited about character design, and I hope that kind of seeing my process with another character has helped you guys and sort of seeing the things I think through. Yeah, I hope it was helpful. But like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a collaboration with Ben from the channel Follygon, and he has created a digital 3D sculpt of this character, and I am about to open the file, and I'm gonna put the final one up on screen so you guys can see too. But let's see. Holy crap, that is so cool. Oh my god, she looks real. Oh, that's so crazy to like see a character you create in like this 3D thing. Like she looks like she could just live in a, it's so crazy. Oh my god. That's just so awesome. I'm getting way too excited, sorry. But yeah, if you want to see Ben's process for how he created this awesome thing, go check out his video. I'm gonna link it right at the top of the description. I am so excited to watch it myself, to see how he created this beautiful render. But yeah, it was so fun working on this collaboration, and thank you, Ben, for suggesting this idea. I had a total blast. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!